Yeah, I wanted to better myself, but no. Anyway, for what we're calling the Smart Mark Remark, our first segment tonight is there's a lot of fun stuff going on in the world of wrestling, especially with the total nonstop action and Jeff Jarrett's new company, Global Force. And apparently, there's rumors that they're going to be doing some sort of invasion angle, especially considering TNA has lost half their roster, and that half of the roster is apparently signed with Global Force. What do you think of a possible invasion deal in 2015 between Global Force and TNA?
Well, for one, TNA may have lost half of their roster to Global Force, but they acquired the Global Force champion and the owner, so I guess it's kind of, a balancing act on that whole thing. I'm kind of happy that Jarrett and TNA have come back together. I hope this is a better working relationship with Global Force. And if I were to do an invasion angle, I would have Global Force come in and destroy the rest of the TNA roster. Just murder them. Squash them like they're bugs. And then I would make sure that nobody in the TNA roster that's left gets to get popular again. And they just keep on squashing them over and over again. And then you'll find one guy that kind of looks like Bobby Lashley, and he'll come in and he'll be like, "Arg, I'm the best," and I'll beat them back, but he won't. And then Hogan will come in about 2 years from now and start Global Force Black and White. It'll work out.
I think knowing Hogan, he would totally do this too. But I'm just thinking of historically. This reminds me a lot of the end of World Class Championship Wrestling when the USWA took it over and they did an invasion angle, and it ended where at the Sportatorium there's a famous video where they Percy Pringle and his guys pulled down the banner of World Class Championship Wrestling and hoisted the one of United States Wrestling from Memphis. And I have a funny feeling that's what we're going to see. The Impact Zone's going to get destroyed, and we're going to see them hoist the Global Force banner or whatever. And I guess if you're going to rip something off, you might as well rip off something from Memphis, right?
The best place in the world for wrestling to rip off is Memphis, because they do everything and they do it right. So yeah,
the more I watch,
I'm happy. I'm happy he came back.
The more I watch old Memphis, the more I'm like, why can't they just do this stuff on television?
Well, at least they're going to have themselves a decent champion now, I guess. And Global Force Wrestling is supposed to be better, even though I heard they sell out, or they don't sell out, but they draw like 500 people to their park show, their park shows, which is good actually, considering the fact that this just started.
Yeah, they're doing these like shows at all these little minor league baseball parks, and considering TNA is not doing any shows at the moment, Global Force is getting paying customers, so they already have one up on them.
All right. Now, it's going to be really, really interesting now that you told me that there was a pay-per-view the other day.
Yeah, the TNA did Slammiversary for some reason, and just to show you how screwed up TNA is, they scheduled the pay-per-view for this week, Sunday, and they taped everything that's going to happen after the pay-per-view before it, which makes total sense. Yeah, it
makes perfect sense if you're TNA.
Yeah. Basically, they've taped a month's worth of shows starting last Wednesday, and they did a paper, and they still have this pay-per-view scheduled for Sunday. So they did everything that's going to happen on TNA was taped already before the pay-per-view. So the pay-per-view was just kind of used as a filler thing, like, oh well, we have this pay-per-view deal, so we might as well do it. And they brought, as we were talking about with Jarrett, they brought back the King of the Mountain match for some unexplicable reason. And since they couldn't do the World Heavyweight title in it, they had to improvise, and they decided to make it for the King of the Team. They created a new title, which is funny because TNA can't pay anyone, so they're creating new titles. They called it the TNA King of the Mountain Championship, and it was contested in the King of the Mountain match. And they put up a video the other day, and it was the video of basically it's the TNA Legends title belt that has been passed around more than anyone I can imagine, and now it's just how it was first the TNA Legends title, then the Global title, then the television title. So now, this poor title belt, which is just so haggard in its appearance, is now the TNA King of the Mountain Championship. And Jeff Jarrett won it because, it's his match. Yeah, they did this whole angle where they begged Jarrett to come back for one more match just to make things right because he didn't get to go out the way he wanted to. So here he is. It's a feel-good moment. He wins the match. And it doesn't make any sense whatsoever because he's actually the promoter of a rival company. This whole King of the Mountain deal, it made no sense. I mean, they had to do a pay-per-view for the hell of it because they had nothing to do. I mean, they had the date scheduled, and they didn't think to do all the TV taping after it. So Jeff Jarrett is now the King of the Mountain champion for TNA. Only thing is, he's not going to be wrestling for them anymore, probably. Does that make any sense at all?
You know, that whole thing, my head kind of exploded after hearing that whole explanation about what's going on in TNA. I'm like surprised it's still going on. I'm surprised every single time I hear that TNA is still existing. That is like way more complicated than it ever should be. And if this is the way that they're going to make Jarrett into something, what can you do with?
I know.
Why in the world would you make the opposing federation take their owner and their top guy and make them why would you legitimize the top owner of a fed that literally is stealing all your talent? Unless this is like some Cayman Island kind of situation. This is like some sort of Cayman Island situation where they're like shuffling the illegal goods underneath a blockade or something, or they're like, putting junk bonds, or there's something going on. There's some evil thing going on with TNA if this is what they're doing with Global. I used to be behind Global Force Wrestling a few minutes ago, but now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I could almost imagine that's what they're sort of. It would be almost something like that, but yeah, this whole TNA thing, it just makes from an invasion standpoint, it makes no sense that. Basically, they said, "Well, Jeff Jarrett, you didn't go out on the terms you wanted to, and we respect all you did for the company. So come back, have your moment in the sun, and we're gonna put you in the TNA Hall of Fame, all that stuff, blah blah blah." Oh, that's spoilers for the next month. Sorry, folks. But yeah.
Shh. Don't put it over, or else Bob Ryder's gonna tweet us that we're ruining his business.
Yeah, Bob Ryder has become. I didn't know Baghdad Bob was still around, and lo and behold, he actually works for TNA. Bob. Those aren't takes behind us. No one's leaving the company. No, nothing to worry about at all whatsoever.
Nothing's going wrong.
Everything's fine.
You would have thought that Paul Heyman would have fucking gotten this shit out of everybody's system. You would have thought that Paul Heyman would have ruined everyone's idea of, not trusting the promoters so much, in the sense that I'm not getting paid, so why in the world am I still wrestling for you, kind of a thing. But no, there's Bob Ryder still fucking trying to put this shit over.
Yeah, good old Baghdad Bob Ryder. No, those aren't tanks behind us. No. Why our defenses are working better than ever? Those aren't the Americans over there. No.